Hi everybody! As it's the end of June now and we're halfway through the year, I thought I'd give a little update on my little New Year's resolution I made to myself at the beginning of the year to maybe try and work on at least half of the works in progress that I had going on at the time at the start of the year, and I have to say I am failing pretty miserably so far. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update of how I was getting on and show you the works in progress I have gone back and actually finished. And this is the first one I thought I'd show you. This is Colouring Heaven Collection, The Legends of Japan. This is by Maud Lamoine. And I'll pop up a picture here of what it looked like at the beginning of the year before I started working on it. And this one I was doing with the dough and chroma flow pencils, and I really wasn't getting on with those pencils, I think, and that's why this one got put on the back burner. But I did actually go back into it, and I was again using those dough and chroma flow pencils. And this one was actually a video on the channel at the time, working on this one, and I think I showed you how I did these flowers here just using a 12 set of the Chroma Flow pencils, and I'm pretty happy with how she's turned out. I think it was her skin that was giving me trouble in the first place because I couldn't really find good skin tones in that 12 set of Dough and Chroma Flow, so I was going with the idea of making her look like a plant and give her kind of lines or kind of hatching across her skin to make it look kind of textured like a leaf or a plant. I thought maybe that would work, and I think that after going ahead and finishing her off, she has actually worked. I'll bring her up a little bit closer, see if we can get a few more details going on there. I gave her a marker base for the background, but all the rest I think was the pencils. Played around with doing some little sparkles and twinkles in the background there. Added a little bit of glitter. Can we make that sparkle? Yeah, there's a little bit of glitter on that background as well. That was the Dovecraft glitter glue. If I can remember, the rest of it was the 12 set of Chroma Flow pencils and a little bit of the gold gel pen to go in and do the tattoos that she had going on her skin there. I did give her some kind of green freckles to give that kind of speckled effects that leaves get sometimes, just to make her look a bit more kind of natural, more like a plant. I went ahead and used the white gel pen to go around the edges of these flowers here, and the colour is starting to seep through there. It's turning a kind of beigey brown on the edges where I used that white gel pen, but yeah, all in all I was pretty pleased to go ahead and actually get her finished because I was struggling quite a lot with those pencils, so I was quite pleased to get her finished there in the end, and I think she's turned out really nicely. I do love the fact she's got the odd eyes, the heterochromia going on there, and I was quite bold with my makeup choices there as well for her lipstick, so yeah, all in all pretty pleased with that one, and that's the first one I've got to show you. There's not that many, as I've said, I was failing miserably. Next we're moving on to Dark Fantasy Special Colouring Heaven. This is by Enys Guererro, and just a little warning that Enys Guererro is a pretty dark and gothic kind of artist, so she likes to give scars to her ladies, and this image coming up just before I pop up a screenshot or a photo of what it looked like before I started working on it. This lady does have scars on her arms, so if you're not interested in seeing anything like that, then please look away until I tell you that I've moved on. But yeah, this is what it looked like before I actually started working on it. And as you can see, there is a lot of mushrooms in that picture, and I think that is what was putting me off going back and actually working on this, is that there was so many mushrooms in it. And I do love colouring mushrooms, but yeah, even that was a bit too much even for me, I think, but that was what I was looking at. I think I'd started colouring a few mushrooms there and maybe based Alice's skin, if I remember rightly. But this is what we did end up with. I do actually have two works in progress to show you in this one, actually. This is the first one. And there we go, this is Alice after we've gone ahead and actually finished her. And the mushrooms themselves, I did a video showing you how I colour mushrooms, the colour combination I usually use for mushrooms or toadstools, anything in the fungus variety. I like to colour them red with the white spots to be the traditional kind of fairy tale sort of toadstool mushroom type things. And the caps of the mushrooms, they're all with pencil, Castle Arts pencils, as I showed you in the video. The rest of the picture there, I went in and finished basing off with the markers. As you can see there, we have a marker base for pretty much everything else apart from the caps of the mushrooms and these bits of her kind of outfit that I left white. There is a tiny little bit of grey that I put in for shading, but yeah, those are basically white, and gone around the edges there with the white pencil. Everything else pencil over the top of a marker base. And a little bit of washi tape I added here for this tie that was round her arm because I couldn't figure out what colour to actually colour it, so I found this really nice black and white sort of washi tape with hearts, and I think that fitted in quite nicely. So I'll bring her in for a close-up. There we go, there's our Alice in close-up there. You can see lots and lots of mushrooms in that background there. So yeah, it was a bit of a labour of love trying to finish this one off. Again, I tried to give a kind of dark, sort of gothic-y looking makeup there with that dark red lipstick. So that kind of fitted in with the theme of the picture, I thought. That is my combination for gold there, but done on top of a marker. My Castle Arts Gold combination for gold I did on top of that marker there. We have the washi tape for her cloth on her wrist. And everything else we have the marker base. Kind of hard to get the angle, but yeah, everything else is a marker base with the pencil shading on top. And there we go, that is Alice in Wonderland. So anyone who was looking away, just give me 1 second, anyone who's looking away can look back now. This is the next one that I've gone ahead and finished. And I can show you a little screenshot here. I'll just pop it on top of the actual image. This is how it looked like before I went into this one. And as you can see, there's a tiny little bit coloured there just on her dress. I think it was on her bodice. I had tried to test some pencils because this magazine had a little bit of a problem with 2 different kinds of paper, which is quite hard to show you on camera, but I will try in a little minute. There was 2 different kinds of paper, and I was testing out pencils on this paper in the back, towards the back of the magazine, which is a lot more shinier and doesn't take the pencils very well. So what I did for this one, get rid of our little image there. What I did for this one is I went on full on for collage. I tried going in with pencils and markers, I think, for her skin of her arm. Yeah, we can see there we do have a little bit of a marker base. I went in there and actually tried with the pencils to give her some skin tone, but it really wasn't working. This paper is a lot shinier and smoother than the paper in the rest of the magazine. I'm not sure if it will pick up on camera, but I'll try and find another one to maybe show. If you can see there, I'm not sure it'll show up on camera, but this paper in the front of the magazine is a lot more of a creamy colour, sort of off-white, and it's got a lot more tooth to it. I think it's a lot thicker as well. But this paper in the back of the magazine is pretty much printer paper, I think, from what I've gathered, and it really wasn't taking the pencil very well at all. So I went full on with collage for that. The background was this patchwork, as we saw from the original image, so I went over that with different scrapbooking papers and tried to keep that kind of patchwork effect going on in the background. The buttons I cut out of some wood grain kind of effect paper to try and make them look like wooden buttons and stuck those on. We do have some washi tape for this glove here and for this little bit of a bodice in between all this crisscross strapping here. The strapping itself is washi tape. And at the time I did it, it wasn't sticking very well, but because this magazine has been stored away and under a load of other magazines, it's flattened quite nicely, so that is sticking now, so I'm quite pleased with that. The hair I cut off another lady from a fantasy art calendar that I had hanging around. I cut off the hair and kind of added it in there. I went round some of the outlines here with the black biro to make it look a little bit more sketchy and grungy, and I thought go with the theme there. And I had a little bit of a mishap down the bottom where I covered it with this butterfly. I can't remember what it was now, some sort of line art I missed or something. I covered it with this butterfly. I cut off a greeting card, the same greeting card I cut out these flowers because she did have flowers in her hair, I think. So I ended up sticking those over on the top. So I'll bring her up a little bit closer. And there we can see the patchwork papers I've got going on in the background, kind of muted colours. This one here is more of a teal green. I don't think my camera really picks up teal green very well. It doesn't like yellow for some reason. Everything else, yep, you can see there, mostly collage with the black biro kind of outlines. We've got our washi tape here. The skin, where I really failed to get any shading going on because this paper is super smooth, so I'm going to have to be a little bit creative for the rest of the pictures in this book, I think. And there we go, that's what we ended up with. There's our lady that we ended up with, and yeah, kind of pleased I actually got her finished, as she's been hanging around for ages with just that little bit of her bodice coloured in. So yeah, it was good to actually get her finished in the end. And those are the 2 that I've actually finished off in Dark Fantasy Special Colouring Heaven by Enys Guererro. Next, we're moving on to Colouring Book of Flowers and Sweet Girls. This is by Dada, I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is by Dada. And I'll pop a picture up here of what this little witchy girl looked like before I actually went in and started working on her. There we go, that's what she looked like. I can't remember how much I'd done. I think I'd only just done some of the flowers because this was back in November, I think, when I had poppies as my theme. So I wanted to colour this one as poppies. And then I sort of couldn't figure out what colours to do the rest of the image, so it kind of got put on the back burner and fell by the wayside. But I'll show you what we did actually end up with. Here we go, this is our Poppy Witch here, and I was super happy with this one when I actually finished her off. I thought she worked out really, really well. I ended up giving her a marker base for most of the rest of the picture. You can see there we have a marker base for most of the rest of the picture. Just shaded on top with pencils. When I first started, I was using some cheap watercolor pencils to try and do some of these poppies here. I think I tried to do, and because it was so much work, I think, and because I couldn't figure out what colors to use for the rest of the picture, I kind of put it to the side and didn't get back to it for quite a while. But I think she's worked out really well. I was quite surprised how this hair color worked along with everything else, because this was just me messing about, having some fun with it. I didn't think it would actually work as well as it did. I just wanted to have some sort of a gradient from the purple to pink through to yellow, which is a gradient I do like to use. And I added a lot of sparkles with the white gel pen to make it look sort of more magical, and I think that's worked really well. I added some star stickers to her outfit here on top of the black because she is supposed to be a witch, so I thought I'd add those on as a little bit of a pattern. That there was no pattern there, it was just plain, and I was finding it hard with the blending as well, I think, so I put on all those little stars to hopefully go with the witchy theme and maybe distract from the fact that my blending probably isn't the best there. But yeah, really happy with how she's turned out, and really surprised how all those colours ended up going together. But I'll bring her up. These star stickers are gold. We can see those kind of glittering a bit in the lamp there. I tried to make a little bit of a bokeh effect going on in the background by doing a layer of marker and then going on top with either, I'm not sure if it was the hand gel or the colourless blender to make these circles, and then I shaded on top, added some white gel pen sparkles. Seemed to work quite well. We've got the white going around the outlines of this sort of white. Kind of lacy on the cuffs here, kind of lacy there with the white gel pen dots, but I went around the outlines with the white gel pen there. And it's only just now, yeah, I missed a bit. There's some hair going on there behind her arm. I can't believe that. I've only just noticed I've missed that. I'm going to have to go back in and try and remember which pencils and markers I was using. But yeah, or maybe I'll just leave her as is, because I did say she was finished. I called it a day for her. And yeah, really happy with how she's turned out. Again, that's my gold combination with the Castle Arts gold pencils. Everything else marker base with pencil shading, and yeah, another one I was pretty happy to get finished, and that is the first picture I coloured in this book, so I was kind of happy to actually have a picture coloured in this book because I do love Dada Mao, and I thought that one turned out really cute, so I'm looking forward to doing some more in that book. And that one is Flowers and Sweet Girls by, I think that's Dada Mao. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is. Next we're moving on to Shadowscapes by Stephanie Law. She has got a longer name there, but I think she just goes by Stephanie Law now with her new book. She's just Stephanie Law, so that's easier to say, so I'll go with that. But this is Shadowscapes, and I'll pop up the picture of the work in progress here. And this one was a work in progress because I didn't really like how that background was going. I thought I'd really ruined that background. I think originally I spilt some coffee on there, and I tried to disguise that by doing some kind of splash effects with my coloured pencils. But this was back before I'd had so much practice with making coloured pencils look like watercolour, so yeah, that wasn't going very well. The splashes were going in the wrong directions, and I kind of gave up and abandoned it. But I did go back into it, and we'll see now what we ended up with. And this was also a video on the channel, I think, showing how I actually did this. Yep, there we go. This is what we ended up with, and I ended up cutting along the edge of the colouring page and slipping in some collage butterfly wings there from another colouring book. It was an illustration in a colouring book, a kind of inspiration illustration on the other side of the page. I cut out those wings and thought they fitted in quite well with the colours I already had going. I did miss, yeah, there was a little bit here of the splash that was still showing, so I went in with gold ink and did some circles in the background with a circle stencil. I drew them with pencil first and then filled them in with gold ink, and went around the outside of them with a gold gel pen just to neaten those off. I splashed on some gold ink as well, I think, to kind of heighten that kind of circle motif we've got going on. And of course, yeah, this is me, so I've stuck on some stick-on crystals on her shawl here, and down here where there was some flowers, I think, going on down there. I stuck on some blue ones there. Two of the butterflies are stickers. These ones here were all actually already in the picture, so those were already there, but these two were stickers. And I put those on because I thought they fitted in with the theme that we had going on with the butterflies. They were the right kind of colours, so I went with that and stuck those on there. I'll bring them up for a little bit of a close-up. I think I'm getting the hang of it, showing you guys close-ups of what I've actually been doing. There we go. You can see there the gold Gold ink is very shiny. Yeah, you see that going in the light there. It's very shiny, and some spatters of the gold ink as well. We've got the stick on crystals going on her shawl. There's a yellow and orange. I thought to bring in the colours of the wings. I did shade on top of the wings with some pencils, and then went in with some cross hatching. I think that could be with fine liner or with biro, I can't remember. But yeah, we do have some shading on the wings as well, just to heighten the colour. And I went in with white gel pen around the edges as well. Yeah, just realised. Yeah, we do have white gel pen around the edges. Her dress was mainly already done with my Castle Arts combination for gold. That is more of an orangey, bronzy gold. So yeah, I just carried on and finished that off. Finished off the grass, added these little more crystals down there, little blue ones. Can we get those sparkling? Yeah, there we go. Little blue crystals down in the grass. But again, yeah, really pleased with how she turned out. It did take me quite a while to figure out how to cover that background though. Yeah, and I was really pleased with myself for coming up with that idea for using collage. So yeah, another little collage that saved the day there. And that one is from Shadowscapes by Stephanie Law. And this next one was a long-standing work in progress. I'm not entirely sure why. This is from Mythographic Magical Earth by Joseph Catimbang. And I'll pop up here a picture of how it looked like when I put it to the side. I'm not entirely sure why this one got put to the side. It could be because I was kind of in two minds on colour decisions or trying to figure out how to do stuff. Or it could have been because there was so much detail in the picture I needed to put it to one side to just give myself a little break and do something easy for a while. I'm not entirely sure. And this is what we did end up with. There we go, it's my little tortoise. And yeah, really pleased with how this one did turn out. In the end, I decided to go for blue for the flowers and for the dress of the girl here. I think that's what I was stuck on deciding for. I ended up using some washi tape that I'd gotten with a kind of bee theme. So we have these ones with sunflowers, and the yellow has a honeycomb pattern if we look closely when I bring it up closer in a second. I won't say too much about this one because it was just in my finished pages video. There's silver gel pen and glitter on the wings of the bugs. Most of the rest is just pencils, my usual pencils, Castle Arts Gold, there's Artesia, I think there's a couple of Crayola, maybe Brush Runner. I do love to mix my pencils, so I did, go all out on this one. So I'll bring him up for a little bit of a close-up. There we go. You can see the glitter on the wings of the bugs there, if that shows up in the light, and the silver gel pen. I went around the edges of these flowers with the white gel pen just to keep them looking kind of delicate, like little soft blossoms there. Hopefully that was working. Lots of sparkles in the sky. Not sure if they're stars or just sparkles, but I went a bit crazy with the white gel pen there. We have our washi tape on our girl there. And I do love the gradient we've got going on in the sky from yellow to peach and purple, which is the same kind of gradient we had on our witch girl. I didn't realise that until I'd actually finished the picture, but yeah, it is the same kind of gradient, and it kind of, the peach colour is here, the same place where her arm is going across, so that kind of, yeah, didn't work out quite as I was anticipating. I didn't really plan there. I think it looks okay, but her skin could be standing out a little bit more, I think. And there's all the rest of them. Yeah, lots of white gel pen in that one. And I was super pleased with how that one turned out because, yeah, the pictures in this book are super detailed. So, yeah, I suppose I was having difficulty figuring out what my colours were going to be. And I think in future, if I do go ahead and colour anything else in that book, I will use something as a base instead of just going in with straight pencils, because that does make things a lot more painstaking and more of a labour of love with that one. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how he turned out. And that was the last work in progress I actually managed to finish this month. So, as you can see, 6 of them I've actually finished so far this year, which is averaging out to about one a month, which isn't going very well to doing half of what I had, because I had 65 and I've actually done 6 so far. But the question you might be asking yourself, did I actually start any more works in progress or WIPs and added them onto the pile? And the answer to that one is unfortunately yes. Only 2 though, only 2 that I do actually intend to go ahead and finish, so I will show you those as well while we're actually on the subject of works in progress. The first one is in this book. This is the full metal colouring book, and there is an artist for this one, Chris J. Panatier, and this is the, as you can see there, this is the one that I have started. The paper in this book is not that great. It is Amazon paper and it's not very brilliant Amazon paper. So yeah, the pencils are not that vivid and bright on the paper. I have given it a marker base. Yeah, marker base. I started this one when my theme for the month was metal. Trying to be a little bit cheeky because it's the full metal colouring book. I thought I could get away with that full metal, but I ended up not actually finishing it. I do love the way these skulls are going here. I think those are looking awesome. I've collaged in some flowers just to bring in that blue colour from her hair down into the flowers here with some little stick-on crystals stuck on there. The rest is pencil shading over the marker base. And there's not really that much to do. I think I need to finish off maybe these plants and stuff up here, the owl and a bit of the deer, and I think I'll probably be good to go. I'm hoping. Not that much to finish, but it's finding time and inclination, I suppose, to actually go back in and finish it. So I'll bring us in for a close-up, as I'm trying to get used to doing. There we go, we're in for a close-up there. You can see this is the part that I need to finish off here. And these are all the bits I've done more towards the bottom right. All the pencil shading over the marker base. And yeah, I love these flowers that are collaged in here with the stick-on crystals. Yep. And the light there. I've tried to give the skulls all different coloured eyeballs, which was really fun. I've brought in the white gel pen for the outline for her dress there, just to make it look like she's got a white dress, like the maiden lost in the forest kind of idea. I did the moon with a red glitter watercolour, trying to give it a few little crater markings on there. So yeah, I'm pleased with how it's going. The paper is not the best. It's not easy to get the colours really vibrant or anything like that, so it's going to be a little bit of work. I think that's probably why it got put to the side, that one, because of the paper. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate because I do love the pictures in this book. Maybe it's one I could copy off onto my own actual paper if I wanted to colour these pictures. But yeah, that's another work in progress to add to the pile. That is Full Metal colouring book. And the last one is from Colouring Heaven Bohemian Beauty Special. This is by Durianadict, A.K.A. T.Fallon. I think she goes by something different now. I'm not exactly sure what, but that was her name when she actually did this issue. And the one I started in here is this one. I just fancied colouring some skin one evening when I was sitting over on the sofa watching TV, so I picked up, I think this was Amazon Basics pencils. Yeah, it was Amazon Basics pencils, and I just started colouring the skin. And then I thought it would be cool to give her a kind of galaxy effect in her hair, so I started on that. And yeah, there's not really very much done there. I really love the way her eyes are looking there in with that kind of yellowish skin tone. Not super happy with her nose. I think the bridge of her nose is a little bit too wide there, but I think I can kind of overlook that and carry on and finish her off. Just the Amazon Basics pencils on that one so far. And that's all I've managed to get done. And probably the camera won't be picking up that yellow in her skin, but her skin is fairly kind of yellow ochre. This camera isn't that great at picking up yellow. And obviously the white gel pen for stars in her hair and for a little bit of shine on her lips we've got going on there. A few highlights here and there. It was actually quite fun when I did it, but I was kind of in between pictures at the time. You know, when you finish one picture, you can't think of anything else to do. I just fancied colouring some skin, and that's what I ended up doing. So yeah, she is one that I do want to go back and finish at some point, and that's about all I've got to show you today. It should be a quick little video. I am still struggling with the phone camera after that recent update that's knocked off the settings somehow, and I can't figure out how to put it right. Could be just a case of waiting for another update that actually fixes it, I don't know. But at the moment I don't really have any other method of filming because I had to replace the attachment on my tripod and it's not big enough to put a tablet into. So hopefully the problems won't last too long. I might figure out a way to cope with it in editing, or some update might come out that actually fixes it. But yeah, until then, hopefully you've enjoyed looking back at my works in progress and how far I'm getting on with the New Year's resolution. Not very well so far, but there's still time. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Take care, and I'll see you in future videos. Bye.